All right, everybody. Welcome back into another episode of the Lesko podcast. Wanted to do a quick episode here talking about the head coaching situation at Penn State and something that I think a lot of people are missing when it comes to this search. And that is facts, cold, hard facts about the situation and incorporating that into who they think will be the next coach. Let's talk some facts about the situation, okay? This team, for 12 years, had a ceiling that they were never going to get past under Franklin. After the Oregon game this year, after going into the season with everything that we needed, supposedly, and this being the most aligned year we've had ever under Franklin, which he always preached alignment, we had everything. For some reason, he still asked for an extension. Don't know why that is, but he did. Because that's what Franklin does. After the Oregon game, I said he should be fired because if you start the season like this and you lose again to the first good team you play at home in the whiteout, then changes need to be made right now. And it took them, 3 weeks? So pretty much 2 weeks later, he was gone. I said he should be fired. I said I think he will be fired. Others said he won't be. I said I think he should, and I think he will, regardless of the money situation. I said, so to backtrack, the fact around that is after Oregon, I thought he should have been fired. And I said, we need a new quarterback. After week 2, I said I would rather lose with Gronk than win with Aller because I thought that Gronk was the better quarterback. Okay. There was a ceiling, like I said, that we had hit, that we knew we would never get past under him. And changes were made. He was let go. Terry Smith steps in. Again, we've talked about Joe Paterno on this podcast several times. What a great coach he was. His wins speak for themselves, but to win that consistently across that many decades is nothing short of amazing, and he deserves all the credit in the world for that. That's what he did. That's why he's the winningest coach of all time. For 41 years, he averaged 10 wins a season. You know how hard that is to do that? You have to be a good coach to be able to do that. And I always said, going into every game under Joe, you knew you could win. Going into every game with Franklin, you knew you could lose. It didn't matter who we were playing. Doesn't matter. UCLA, Appalachian State, Northwestern, doesn't matter. You can go into every game knowing you can lose. We were up 10-0 on Florida International at halftime. So, another fact, Terry Smith played under Joe Paterno. He is a Pennsylvania guy. He knows football. He's coached football. He knows how to play football. He was a good player at Penn State. And he started his coaching career in high school, and he's worked his way up. A fact is he knows how to coach football, and he's good at it. A fact is this team has progressed under Terry Smith. After the Iowa game, to me, like after Oregon, when I said fire Franklin, after the Iowa game, I said he needs to be on this staff. He needs to stay on this staff. He deserves that. Because it was his first week, 20 hours with the team. They went to Iowa with this dumpster fire of a team with a brand new freshman quarterback. They lost by 1, and we all know we could have won that game. And since then, they have progressed. Now, again, I say Ohio State doesn't count because they're a powerhouse. They're number 1. What we did against them in terms of Coach Terry's resume should count because that's the number 1 team in the country on the road. But they still progressed. So we went from Iowa to a bye to Ohio State to Indiana. This team has progressed. And as time has gone on, he said it in his presser tonight. And unlike Franklin, he takes responsibility for things and he means it. And you see it when he makes changes. He said it took him 3 weeks to pass the ball downfield, but now they are. He said they haven't had a victory yet, and that's on him. He said, but the players have shown up. They've played well. They've gotten better, and this team is in a much better position now under him. Another fact, he has a good grip on this team, and you can tell. They've simplified things. They've utilized their weapons, and we saw that all in the game against Indiana. I mean, what they did against Indiana was it hits the nail on the head for everything. Pretty much everything we've been saying here is that they need to simplify things, which they did, and we saw what happened. Gronk had a decent game. Singleton had a career game. I mean, my God, when you simplify things for a running back, especially like Singleton, who doesn't have the best vision, you see what he did. They kept the playbook simple. Unfortunately, the gimmicks came out in the worst times, and the defense collapsed at the end, and I blame that mainly on scheme. What we saw was a simplified playbook on both sides, and we saw that because Terry Smith made that happen. He has a full grip on this team, and we're seeing it. That's why they've progressed. That's what happens when you have a real coach coaching your football team. We haven't had that in 12 years. Another fact, I'll pull it up. Again, what I think a lot of people are missing when they make these predictions, and there's a lot of people out there that all of a sudden they become coach hiring gurus and they know this and that about the football team. They know this and that person. Yes, I have sources and they have sources, and we can simply report what we hear. But at the end of the day, that's college football. It's entertaining. We want to be a part of it. This program has a very dedicated, loyal, diehard fan base. I am one of them to an extreme, which is why I started this podcast. Terry Smith, Penn State, with interim head coach Terry Smith, is gearing up to offer some of the WPIAL's most talented players with NIL revenue share they won't be able to refuse. Terry Smith has his gloves back on and is coming for the knockout punch. Now, again, when people make these predictions, they need to consider the facts of what we see and what we hear. The fact is, Terry Smith has progressed as a coach. Gronkmeyer has a better passing percentage through 3 games than Aller did. He has progressed. And his philosophy has made this team better. Therefore, I think he should have a position on this staff next year. Okay? I could be overthinking this. I could be wrong. You guys comment below what you think. Why would he be doing this if, first of all, if he's doing this, I don't think he's doing this for these players, because I don't think he can. It's revenue sharing, which I think is tied. I don't know exactly how it works, but I don't think he's going to offer these guys money, which is the opposite of Franklin. And he's pretty much said, without saying it, that he's doing his way. He's not doing it Franklin's way. Why would he do this if he didn't know he was coming back as a coach in some form or capacity? And to me, it makes no sense that he would leave to go coach with Franklin, because I think he's done coaching with him, because he's too smart of a guy and too much of a real coach to go coach with him again. And I think he realizes and saw just how bad it got. And he saw his head coach, the assistant head coach, saw the head coach give up and quit, and then go and trash his school a week later. Not even a week, 6 days later, on national TV. I don't think he wants to coach with him again. Therefore, I don't think Terry Smith will leave. So, why is he offering these guys this money if he doesn't know that he's going to be here next year? Okay. Therefore, that's a fact. Therefore, another fact is, I think he knows something that we don't know, that no one knows, which makes sense. There's a lot of stuff going on in the background that many of us think we might know, but I don't think we truly do know. The only thing we do know is we don't know truly what's going to happen. But if you put all the pieces together, do a little detective work, we know that he's doing this here. We know that that must mean he's staying. Therefore, we can somewhat conclude that that means, like I said, he knows something that we don't. Pat Kraft and those guys, they're doing all kinds of work right now. So let's put all of this stuff together. He said it would be a home run hire. He said we're going to be happy with the hire. He said they're going to come in and they're going to embrace NIL. We're going to win a national championship. We want to win a national championship. Going to embrace the portal. It's going to be the opposite of what Franklin did, which this guy right here, I think, is on board with. So, those are the facts. And what I can come to, what I can do is come to a conclusion as an analyst, whatever you want to call me, a podcaster, show runner, whatever. He knows that either he will be the head coach, or, which I think is possible, or he knows who the next head coach will be, and they already have a plan in place. Okay? My guess, based off what I've heard, and again, who knows what's true? It's nothing against the people that I know that give me information. I just don't think anybody truly knows. But I think we know already 90% sure who the head coach is going to be. And if you think about it, it's going to be a coach who is not going to the playoff. Most likely, Eli Drinkwitz. I'll just look up the rankings again. So, the rankings right now. Okay, so right now, if I'm correct, it's number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana, 3 A&M, 4 Bama, 5 Georgia, 12 South Florida, 8 Oregon, 9 Notre Dame, 10 Texas, 7 Ole Miss, 11 Miami, 8 Texas Tech. So that's what it looks like right now. So the two coaches, and I just saw a story, it said there's heat around Braum and Drinkowitz. Okay. Of those teams I just listed off, the 12 teams that I just listed off, does not include Louisville or Missouri, but it does include Ohio State, obviously. So, the home run aspect of the hire would probably be a head coach, and it would most likely be an SEC head coach, considering that's one of the names and possibilities in this. There's not really a possibility of a Big Ten coach going to another Big Ten school right now. So, an SEC head coach who will not make the playoff, who could do better, and already has players and pieces to the puzzle in place, including quarterbacks. And he has one here. He has Gronkmeyer, who, as far as I'm concerned, should be the starter next year. Drinkowitz has Bo, and he has Zollers. Who's to say Bo would even leave? But Zollers could. To not include Terry Smith in the staff next year, I think, would be a disservice and a bad move. And I think everyone is in alignment with that. Good alignment, not Franklin's alignment. Real reality, common sense alignment. It would make sense to bring Terry Smith back and to stay, which he should. So, again, if you think about it, Braum, I don't think he leaves Louisville. But the two names we're hearing right now are Braum and Drinkowitz. I don't think Braum leaves. I don't think the GT coach leaves. I don't think Clark Lee leaves. Okay, so, again, he comes back. He's paying players already, which is something Franklin did not do, because he knows he's going to be here. He knows he's a large piece to this puzzle, and he's the glue that is and will hold this team together, the roster. Meaning, especially if we win out and go to a bowl, I think guys will play. And the guys that can return will return. So, what I think is that it's going to be, I don't know exactly. My guess is it's going to be Drinkowitz, an SEC head coach, an offensive guy, will probably embrace Terry Smith coming back. And we have an OC available right now in Brian Daboll. Now people are freaking out because he's wearing a Penn State shirt. His daughter goes to Penn State. I think there's nothing more to it than that. But I think if he came in, he would make a great OC. And I think Drinkowitz would consider that. But again, if you put all the facts together based off stuff that we do know, and again, I'm assuming this is true, this Whippeal thing. I'm assuming this is true. I think that's more factual than a lot of the who's it going to be, who's the head coach going to be? It's going to be this guy, that guy, whoever. If you put it all together, an SEC coach who is not going to make the playoff comes here in a better situation, more support, resources, everything he could ask for, a new stadium, talent, recruiting pipelines, and he has a guy here already who is establishing himself and doing well and clearly showing that his methods are working. And I think we haven't even seen the best of it yet. Winning out, going to a bowl, guys playing, guys returning, maybe winning a bowl. If you put it all together, I think that's what it's going to end up being. Whoever comes in, whether it's Brett Key, Chris just said, Drinkowitz, Braum, whoever it is, and again, I think it will be Drinkowitz, but I don't know. He knows that he's going to be here, and there's a plan already in place. Because by December 3rd, guys, we will know who our head coach will be. We pretty much have to have it by then. So, Again, it's a guy who isn't going to the playoff, has no part in a playoff team, coming here with a guy who already has a large part of the work done to hand off to the next guy. Says, hey, I've got this roster. You bring your guys. I've got the NIL stuff already going for you. I'm the glue to this whole situation. Give me a job and let's take this thing to the moon. And then again, there's possibilities of like a Brian Daboll coming in. So if you really think about it, why would this stuff be happening like this right here if he didn't know something? So again, I think they already kind of know who it is. He knows that he's going to be a part of it, and that's why he's doing this stuff. And he's still zoned in on this season because he's a great coach. He's a great football mind. So those are my thoughts. You guys put your thoughts below, but I do think that that is what will happen. Again, for me, I think it would be Drinkowitz, an offensive guy, comes in, knows that he has Smith here, knows that he can maybe go and get more staff like a Daboll or bring his own guys with him, keep some of the staff that's already here. I think it makes sense. And again, that's just based off the facts of the situation and what I'm seeing. Therefore, the conclusion I'm coming to is that that's a big possibility of what could truly happen and go down with this whole situation. So, again, put your thoughts below. Let me know what you think. Please like, share, subscribe, support us. We greatly appreciate it. And if you and again, if you step back and you look at the whole situation, it makes sense that it could be an SEC coach that keeps Terry Smith, that will already have the NIL rolling. He'll have some coaches that he might want to keep. He'll have he is the glue to hold this together. He'll have some of the guys coming back. He'll have NIL on the table already. Support is already there for Terry Smith and the next guy because Franklin's not here anymore because no one liked him. So that's my thoughts. But again, we'll see how it plays out. But we're going to know soon. And we'll know soon what will happen. That's a fact. Have a good night, guys.